All right. So now we're on 1-2. 1-2A. It'll probably take us a couple days to finish this 1-2, maybe 3. I don't really know. So what we're going to do, we're going to add numbers. All right. It's pretty basic, but that's okay. We're going to add numbers. We'll start off pretty easy. The easiest problem you'll have all year, probably right here. What is that? Yeah. But what kind of numbers are these? What kind of number is this? Well, yeah, they're all real numbers, but it's positive or negative?
Positive.
Both positive. Both positive, correct? But when we write a positive number, we don't usually write a positive in front of it like every single time. That'd be a waste of time. We just assume it's positive unless there's a what in front of it?
Negative.
A negative. Then it would be a negative number, okay? So it's pretty easy. Just 3 + 2 is 5. What I'm showing you right here, we're going to go through some rules for signs when you add things together. All right. So this is when they're both positive. So both, both the same sign. The same sign. So both numbers are the same sign. All right. So here's the rule: when they're both the same sign, you just add the numbers and keep the sign. Write that down. Add and keep the sign. And keep the sign. Now, you already know that for positive numbers. That's pretty easy. You've been doing that since you were a little kid when you first started counting, right? +3, +2. But then you get a little older, and then you start introducing negative numbers. And people say, well, how can you have less than 0? Well, you can have less than 0. Like, if I owe Faith $5, then I got -5, right? Okay, so that's -5. I don't owe her $5. I think you owe me 5, don't you? There are negative numbers. You can go, like if you owe somebody, that would be a negative number. So add them, and you just keep the sign. So what if we had this, though? What if you had -3? We're still adding, but you're adding 2 negative numbers together. So what does it say to do? It's the same rule. Both positive, both negative. It's the same exact rule. So we add them and keep the sign. So what if we just add the numbers forgetting about the sign? You get a 5. But now you keep the sign. They both have the same exact sign, so we -5. Pretty simple. Most of you guys could do that in your sleep, and some of you are doing that in your sleep right now because your head's on the desk and your eyes are closed. So keep your heads up, please. All right, so that's easy. Okay, that's one of the easier ones that you're going to do. Okay, to add numbers, you add them up, and you keep the sign. So what if you have different numbers? So this is both the same sign. What if you have different signs? Yep.
Different signs. Can I do this one?
Sure.
All right. 3 + negative.
Well, let's do that. I got the examples all ready to go.
Oh.
Okay. So you're adding. This one's negative. This one's positive. So what do? Do you add the 2 numbers together?
Yes.
You do?
You add 2 to the -3, which makes it a -1.
Yeah, but we kind of, in our head, we're not really adding. We're really doing what? Nico said it. Subtracting, right. You just subtract the numbers. Watch. Here's the rule. You subtract the 2 numbers and keep the sign. Now, I can't just stop there and say keep the sign because they're 2 different signs. Which sign do I keep?
Negative.
The sign of which one?
Unless.
Do I always keep the negative one?
Higher number.
The higher number, the larger. I'll say it larger.
-3 + 4.
That's supposed to be larger. My handwriting's terrible. That's larger number. Okay? That's the rule. Write it down. So when you have different signs, you actually subtract the 2 numbers from each other and you keep the sign of the bigger number. So forget the signs. Just look at the 2 numbers and subtract. 3 - 2. What's 3 - 2? It's 1. But what's the biggest number here? A 3 or a 2? Technically, a lot of teachers get on my case about this, but technically you look at the absolute value of the numbers and see which one is bigger. All right? Because technically 2 is bigger than -3, isn't it? Okay, but forget the signs. Just look at the 3 and the 2. Which one's bigger, 3 or 2? The 3. The 3 is negative, so my answer is what? Negative. Okay? So what if you had this? What if you had -2 + 3? Again, they're different signs, right? So what do? You subtract the 2 numbers from each other. 3 - 2 is 1. The sign of the bigger number. What's bigger, 3 or 2? 3 is. It's positive, so your answer is what? Positive. Pretty easy. Let's talk about subtracting numbers. I'll keep that right there. What about subtraction? Well, there's really only one rule for subtraction. And that's, I like to say this. Some students tell me a way that their teachers taught them before, but this is what I've always said. I mean, it's not cute, doesn't rhyme or anything, but it's short and it's sweet, and it's just add the opposite. Add the opposite. To me, that makes a lot of sense. Some students came to me and they say, Mr. Hamrick, my teacher taught me add a line, change the sign. You ever hear that? Yeah. It's cute. You know, it rhymes, but to me, it's too long. I just like add the opposite. Okay? But you could say add a line, change the sign. All right? That's fine. If it works for you, whatever works. So let's do a problem. Let's just go normal. 5 minus 2. Should be let out that early.
Hey, Vaughn.
All right, what about 5 minus 2? You know how to do that. You know what 5 minus 2 is, but let's apply this because you could take every subtraction problem and turn it into an addition problem. That's what we do for subtraction. There's really only one rule to learn for subtraction, and that is just what? Add the opposite, okay? So we can turn every subtraction problem into an addition problem, and then we just have to know the rules for addition. Does that make sense? So there's not like a whole separate different rules for subtraction. So what I do, add the opposite. So it's minus right here. So what do I take that minus and make it? Make it a positive. That's the add part. I make it add. And then I take the opposite. What's the opposite of positive 2?
Negative.
It's negative 2. All right. And so now we're back to what we did earlier, right? Different signs, subtract, take the sign of the larger, and it's positive. So that's your answer right there. So what if we were going to do this? What if we're going to go 2 minus 5?
Wait, why are we doing all this?
Well, 5 minus 2 you can do in your head. I get it. Okay, but we're learning the rule. We're just learning the rules. We're just learning the rules right now. Okay, I know that you can just look at 5 minus 2 and know it's 3. But what about this, though? A lot of people may not be able to just look at this and tell what the answer is. So we apply the rules. It's subtraction, so we turn it into what? Add the opposite. Or you could say change a line, right? So that's what it means. Change line. What are they? It's called? Or add a line. Add a line, change the sign. Right. Add a line, change the sign. Right. Or you could just say add the opposite. Right. That's what I like to say. Add the opposite. Now look, it's just like we did the addition now. 2 different signs. So what's the rule when you have 2 different signs? Subtract the 2 numbers and take the sign of the larger number. 5 is bigger. It's negative. So I make that a negative 3. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3. What if you had something like this? What if you had 2 minus negative 5? Okay, Ty? Yeah, add the opposite, right? So watch. So add, so I take that first minus and I make an add. Then I take this and I take the opposite. What's the opposite of negative? It's positive. So now what does it turn into? Just 2 plus 5, and that's 7. Everybody see that? What if you had this? What if you had negative 2 minus negative 5? That's right. Anytime you have the 2 negatives next to each other, automatically, right, it's just a plus. So it's negative 2 plus 5. Now they're different signs. So you subtract, take the sign of the larger, which is just 3. After a while, probably right now, you could probably do this in your head already, and you don't have to go through these rules. But there's some people that might have to go through those rules in their head and think about it, all right? What if we had this? What if we had negative 5 minus negative 2? Right, so it's just a plus 2. Very good. So it's just negative 5 plus 2, which is negative 3. After a while, you should just be able to look at these. You should be able to add negative numbers just as easy as you did if they're just all positive numbers. Obviously, the numbers can be, higher and bigger and all that kind of stuff. They could be fractions. They could be decimals. We're just starting off super easy. Okay, real quick. We got a minute, so we can do this in a minute. What about multiplication and division? So multiplication, I'll just shorten that, and division. You really only have one rule for both. Well, you got 2 rules, but for both of them, the same rules apply. Okay, there's no different rules for multiplication and division. They're all the same rules. So again, we have same sign, and we have different sign. And what's nice about this is actually even easier than addition and subtraction. When you're multiplying two numbers together or dividing two numbers, if they both have the same sign, whether both positive or both negative, your answer is always, what do you think? Positive. Very good. Your answer is always positive. Okay? What if you have different signs? Your answer is always negative. It doesn't make any difference which one the bigger number is or anything like that. So for instance, 3 times negative 5. What's 3 times negative 5? It's negative 15. And again, you probably walked in the door before I went over this and could already look at this and tell me what it was. All right? But this is review, so that's what we're doing. What's this? One last problem. Negative 3 times negative 5. What's that? It's positive 15. Okay, your homework is 21 to 67. 21 to 67. And you only have to do the odds. Okay? And that's, hold on just a second. It's page 24. I don't think I printed this out, did I? Okay, so wait. So, listen, I forgot about this. This is my bad. So, come to me by the end of the day, and I'll have this printed for you, okay? If you can get in on RenWeb and get it, then there it is. But yeah, I'll have it like in 10 minutes probably, okay? So if you come to me later, I'll give you the paper. So make sure you do that. It's your responsibility. Come to me later. I'll be in here all day.